When a World War II submarine that had been lost for 75 years was finally found, experts were horrified by what they discovered inside. Despite the passage of over 7 decades, the conditions within the submarine defied belief. The East China Sea's murky depths had silently harbored secrets, now revealed after all these years. On a steamy June day in 2019, the research vessel RV Petrel sliced through the waves with its crew on high alert. Among them was Tim T., an experienced underwater explorer with a rugged face and keen eyes scanning the horizon. "We're nearing the coordinates," Dr. Sarah Chen, the lead marine archaeologist, said, her voice tight with anticipation. Taylor, resolute, instructed, "Get ready to deploy the AUV," referring to the autonomous underwater vehicle that would probe the depths. As the crew readied the submersible, Taylor pondered their lengthy journey. Equipped with fresh data and cutting-edge technology, they were on the brink of solving one of World War II's lingering enigmas. The AUV entered the water with a minimal splash, its streamlined form vanishing beneath the surface. On board, the crew fixated on the monitors. Hours ticked by, the tension escalating until a gasp echoed through the control room. "Contact!" Chen exclaimed, pointing to a fuzzy shape on the screen about 1,400 feet below. Taylor leaned in as the image clarified, revealing the outline of a submarine. "My God," he murmured, "we've found her." The USS Grayback, lost for 75 years, had been discovered. But as the AUV gathered detailed images, a growing sense of unease set in. Something was off. "Tim, come over," Chen said, her voice trembling. Taylor moved to her side and saw that while the Grayback's hull was mostly intact, a large gaping hole near the conning tower was visible. The finding highlighted the mission's true aim, the Lost 52 project, dedicated to finding the 52 U.S. submarines lost during World War II, aimed to bring closure to families who had awaited answers for decades. The USS Grayback's story was a significant chapter in this journey for understanding. The story of the USS Grayback began on April 3, 1940, at the Electric Boat Company shipyards in Groton, Connecticut. The keel of the submarine, designated SS-208, was laid down as part of the Tamber class, intended to be among the most advanced submarines of the time. As World War II intensified, the Grayback was commissioned on June 30, 1941, under Lieutenant William A. Saunders. After rigorous training and shakedown cruises off Long Island Sound, the Grayback was sent to the Pacific Theater following the attack on Pearl Harbor. By February 1942, the submarine was in the Pacific, where it became known for its successful patrols under Lieutenant Commander John Anderson Moore, sinking numerous enemy vessels. On January 28, 1944, the Grayback departed Pearl Harbor for its final mission. Operating in the East China Sea, it reported sinking enemy ships and damaging a troop transport and tanker. The submarine failed to return to Midway Atoll as scheduled, and on March 30, 1944, the U.S. Navy declared the Grayback lost at sea, with all 80 crew members presumed dead. The families of the lost sailors, including Raymond Parks's niece Gloria Harry, endured years of uncertainty and sorrow. Gloria grew up with stories of her uncle's bravery, but the void left by his disappearance was a constant source of sadness. For decades, the fate of the USS Grayback remained unknown. Historical records from the U.S. Navy suggested the submarine's final location was about 100 miles southeast of Okinawa, based on Japanese war records. Despite numerous searches, no trace of the Grayback was found. Then, in 2018, Japanese researcher Utaka Iwasaki made a crucial discovery. While reviewing files from the Imperial Japanese Navy base at CBU, he found that a single digit in the coordinates of a reported submarine sinking had been mistranslated decades earlier. This small error had misled all previous search efforts by nearly 100 miles. Armed with this new information, Tim Taylor and his team at the Lost 52 project, dedicated to finding the 52 U.S. submarines lost during World War II, set out to solve the mystery. In June 2019, the AUV's cameras captured the first images of the long-lost Grayback. As the initial shock subsided, Taylor and his team began documenting and analyzing the wreck. The submarine, lying 1,427 feet below the surface, was surprisingly well preserved after more than 70 years underwater. However, the damage to the conning tower, a jagged hole consistent with a bomb impact, suggested a violent end. Based on the location and nature of the damage, Dr. Chen said, her voice filled with emotion, it seems the Grayback was attacked on the surface, possibly while recharging her batteries. As the team reviewed the high-resolution images, they realized the explosion had breached the pressure hull, exposing the interior to the crushing depths. The sight was horrifying. The remains of the Grayback's crew were frozen in time. Taylor, his face pale, whispered, "They never had a chance." The images showed skeletons at their stations, some near escape hatches, others at their posts. For Taylor and his team, trained to stay detached, the scene was overwhelming. These were not just historical artifacts. They were men, sons, brothers, husbands, and fathers, whose lives had been tragically cut short. "We need to alert the Navy immediately," Taylor said, his voice strained. "Then we need to decide how to notify the families." The discovery of the USS Grayback sent shockwaves through the naval community and the relatives of the lost crew. For many, it was a mix of bittersweet closure and revived grief. Gloria Harry, upon hearing the news, was overwhelmed with emotion. "I couldn't believe it at first," she said, tears filling her eyes. "After all these years, to finally know what happened to Uncle Raymond and the others is just overwhelming." The U.S. Navy quickly confirmed the find. Robert S. N. Land, head of the Naval History and Heritage Command's Underwater Archaeology Branch, remarked, "The discovery of the USS Grayback concludes a tragic chapter in naval history. It allows us to honor the sacrifice of these courageous sailors and offer some solace to their families." As Taylor stood on the deck, watching the sunlight dance on the waves, he thought about the Grayback resting below, her mission complete and her crew at peace. On the surface, a new generation remained dedicated to uncovering past stories and honoring those who served. In the following weeks, a somber ceremony was held above the Grayback's final resting place. Families of the lost crew, including many descendants who never knew their relatives, gathered to pay their respects. As a Navy bugler played taps, wreaths were placed on the water, sinking slowly towards the silent grave below. For Tim Taylor and his team, finding the Grayback was both a triumph and a stark reminder of war's human cost. "Every submarine we discover is a piece of history," Taylor reflected. "But more importantly, it's a tribute to the men who served and sacrificed. We owe it to them and their families to share their stories." The Grayback's discovery reignited interest in the Lost 52 project and similar efforts to find missing World War II submarines. It highlighted the need to preserve historical records and use new technologies to uncover long-hidden secrets. More crucially, it reminded everyone of the personal stories behind the war's statistics. Each of the 80 men on the Grayback had their own stories, dreams, and families waiting for their return. Their sacrifice, hidden beneath the waves for so long, could finally be honored. The news of the find prompted reflection on the nature of war and remembrance. Veterans groups commended the efforts to locate lost submarines as a way to ensure the sacrifices of past generations are remembered. Historians also saw value in the discovery beyond providing closure for families. Dr. Emily Thornton, a naval historian at the U.S. Naval Academy, explained, "Each sunken vessel serves as a time capsule, preserving a moment in history. The Grayback's wreck offers valuable insights into submarine warfare in the Pacific, the era's technology, and the experiences of the men who fought these underwater battles." For the families of the Grayback's crew, the discovery offered new paths for connection and healing. Support networks formed, bringing together descendants who shared a common sense of loss and newfound resolution. They exchanged stories and photos of the lost sailors, reviving memories that had dimmed over time. Gloria Harry found herself at the heart of this network. "It feels like we've all become an extended family," she remarked. "We're bonded by our shared history and the sacrifice of our loved ones. It's a bittersweet experience, but comforting to know we're not alone." Acknowledging the historical and emotional weight of the discovery, the U.S. Navy embarked on a project to create a lasting tribute to the USS Grayback and its crew. Plans were made for a permanent exhibit at the National Museum of the U.S. Navy in Washington, D.C., featuring artifacts from the seafloor, personal items of the crew, and interactive displays narrating the submarine's story. Tim Taylor and his team at the Lost 52 project, inspired by the Grayback's discovery, pressed on with their efforts. There are still many submarines out there, many families waiting for closure, Taylor noted. Each find is a challenge, but also a chance to honor these heroes and ensure their sacrifices are remembered. The USS Grayback's story remains a powerful reminder of the toll of war and the significance of remembrance. It underscores the bravery of those who served beneath the sea and the commitment of those who seek the truth. For the 80 men aboard the Grayback, their eternal watch has ended. They rest in their ocean grave, now known and honored, and their story, long obscured beneath the waves, will be remembered as a testament to courage, sacrifice, and enduring connections. In the serene depths of the East China Sea, the USS Grayback stands as a silent memorial to the cost of war and the strength of memory. On the surface, a new generation continues the quest to uncover past narratives and honor those who served. The discovery of the USS Grayback is more than a historical note. It connects the past and present, reminding us of the human stories behind every statistic, battle, and sacrifice. Have you ever experienced peace after a long period of uncertainty, or helped someone else find that peace? Imagine being in Gloria Harry's situation, growing up with the absence of a missing uncle. How would you have coped? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for joining us in this moving story of sacrifice, perseverance, and long-awaited resolution. Look out for more captivating stories like this one.